let's get into it with Fallout 3 Remaster in the works, but it's not arriving anytime soon. This comes from Evan Campbell at GameSpot, the spot for games. While everyone waits for the leaked The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remaster to officially be announced, Bethesda apparently has another storied RPG getting a similar treatment, and it's in the works. Industry insider Nate the Hate 2, shoutouts to Nate, who previously nailed aspects of the Switch 2 reveal, replied to a question on Twitter about whether Fallout 3 Remastered was still happening. The answer was that it's planned but won't be for a while. There was no other info provided, such as what developer might be taking on the project. Fallout 3 originally came out in 2008 on PC, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360, and that is almost 20 years ago.
I feel the gears and cogs of time grinding me into dust, Grubb.
Yeah, I saw Guild Wars is like 20 years, and to me that's still like the new other MMO. Obviously there's been a Guild Wars 2 since then, all that stuff, but that's just where my head is at, and that is deeply troubling. Anyway, yeah, it feels like if you're gonna do the work to get, and this is the original rumor for how Oblivion was supposed to work, but if you're going to do the work that you take the creation engine, whatever it's called that Bethesda uses, I know they have another name, and then you pair that with Unreal Engine visuals, at a certain point, you got to just be like, well, let's upgrade all these games with Unreal Engine 5 visuals, because we have the tools in place now to do that kind of remake / remaster. So if, I don't know, it feels like that would be inevitable, and it also feels like, you know, what team is doing this, you just have Virtuos do that as well. Now, maybe Bethesda's having Virtuos figure out the technology of applying Unreal Engine 5 visuals to their engine, and then they're going to take that and be like, all right, great, now we're going to do one of these ourselves in preparation for maybe making a new game that has Unreal Engine 5 visuals, and the underlying tech still is a lot of familiar Bethesda, you know, the janky stuff that makes a lot of stuff possible that I still really like and hope they never abandon. Find ways to evolve it, of course, improve it, but I hope they stick with it. So yeah, this feels like it's just part of that process. And once we get Oblivion next week, I think it's very likely that the next thing that happens here is they do a similar thing with the next obvious game that is closest to Oblivion, and that would be Fallout 3. I mean, those, you know, everything should be kind of almost 1-to-1, considering those are same studio, same engine, same generation, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of getting bothered, Grubb. Like, the more that I'm thinking about this current generation and like the lack of super gigantic mega hits, not discounting the games like Astrobot or you know, other games, but it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth to have to go back to the well. And I understand that Hollywood is also going through this exact same problem, rehashing older ideas or just remaking games altogether, remaking movies, I mean. But like, if I believe if I was a Fallout fan, I would just like a new experience in that world rather than like going back. Now I understand that nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and that you kind of do want to re-explore those areas. And, you know, maybe you're in my shoes where you've never checked out the original Oblivion, didn't check out Fallout 3, so this is an easier way to get into that. I just think for the existing fans of those series, it just leaves you wanting more, and it just feels like when these projects are promoted and maybe shadow dropped, it just takes more time away from the newer games eventually coming out.
Yeah, it's a balance. We're just at a point where the new games are in such a weird place where they take forever. As the game studios wants to make the next Fallout, they're not making it right now, and might not be making it for several more years. I think with like that reality, they work backward from that and be like, what can we do? Like, just look around, like someone figure out something we can do. And it's like, you know, I remember hearing those conversations a couple years back of maybe we do figure out a way to get Obsidian back involved and make a Fallout New Vegas follow-up and let them kind of take it. And maybe that is happening. I know those conversations were preliminary, but they were serious. So hopefully that's happening. But even that is going to take a long time. Obsidian is very busy. Yeah. So I think what happens is you don't just got to make stuff to make the money. You got to make stuff because you got to keep the teams busy and keep them sharp and give them something to do. And it's like, well, and people like remasters. They do buy those things. In fact, in a lot of ways, they like buying the familiar thing more than taking chances on something new.
Sure.
So let's go to that well over and over again. I don't blame anyone for feeling over it, though. I get it. It's, games and software, it's such a weird thing. At a certain point, they're like, you can always keep bringing these back. And now these games are close to 20 years old. So introducing them to a new audience is there's value there. The show is super popular. And so and there's going to be a lot of those people who never played Fallout 3, never even consider playing Fallout 3. Maybe they played Fallout 4, but they probably have not gone back to Fallout 3. So updating that, giving them a chance to re-enter that world is going to have some value to them.
I just wonder if the jank that is kind of in there by design for Fallout 3, is that appealing to folks that discover Fallout from the television show? And
I don't know.
Yeah, and Fallout, from my understanding, is such a craft your own adventure, craft your own narrative based off of your decisions and everything, that I don't know if that would necessarily jive or click well with the TV audience that may be wanting more Fallout stories.
The thing about what Fallout 3 did pretty well is it gave you that world to go and explore and do what you want. But like Oblivion, what happens is you'll do what you want, and that will lead to a pretty good quest line usually. They account for a lot of the major things that players like to do in that game. And if you keep doing it, you'll find yourself suddenly in a situation where I'm on a cool quest. This is some pretty good writing. So I think that game will does a lot to service that audience to a point. Does the jank and the weirdness hold up or appeal to them? It probably doesn't appeal to them. Can they make the game smooth it out, I guess, to make it easier for those people to swallow? Maybe. That's probably something they are thinking about. And if they can make it look pretty, that'll go a long way. But it looks kind of ugly right now.
Speaking about making games look pretty, Fallout 3 has an extensive library of mod support.
That's true.
Does that couldn't get carried over if that game gets remastered, right?
Yes, yeah, that's my question. When I asked this, Mike Minotti yelled at me. He says mods don't matter, and then he tried to throw me off my own podcast. I know, messed up, but you're right. I don't. Maybe that there would be some support. They're calling Oblivion a remaster, right? And we're looking at it being the visuals kind of look completely remade. Is this not a remake? And I think maybe there's a chance what they're trying to imply there is, yes, the visuals are completely remade, but don't think of it as a remake where nothing applies. This is remastered visuals in the way where you re-record a song or something, but it's still that song. And so all the mods still hook into the underlying tech and can be worked with a little bit of an update, like what happened with Skyrim's Special Edition. That has its own set of mods, just because there was you needed to update them or whatever. My understanding, didn't take a ton of work to get that working. So I hope that's the case. And at the very least, though, if the modding community has to start over, or was it enhanced? Was Skyrim enhanced? Is that what it was? Whatever it was called. But if they have to start over, the modding community is so serious about Bethesda games, they'll do it as long as it's not technically significantly more difficult. I think that still works, because as much as you can get Fallout 3 or Oblivion or any of these games to be whatever you want and make them as cool as you want, there's just a massive part of the audience that never wants to touch mods. They just give me the game that you wanted to make. I just want to play what you want to make. Now, couldn't be me. I'm super I don't care what you wanted to make. I'm having my own fun. You hand me a game, I don't see it as a movie. I see it as a guitar that I'm going to play. I'm going to find ways to make my own music with this thing. But that is, I think I'm part of a smaller chunk of the audience than the massive people out there that are just hey, give me a cool experience that is curated and well thought out. And the best way to get there with a Fallout 3, get there with an Oblivion, is do it yourself, remake it yourself. And I think that's what they're thinking here.